Now, to the tax you've had deducted from your paycheck since 2023, and maybe you didn't pay attention. If you have auto deposit like many of us do, maybe only check your pay stub when you're, concerned about what your vacation balance is or just how much you're paying in taxes. Well, since 2023, Washington workers have paid 58 cents on every $100 earned in the state of Washington for the WA Cares Fund, the Washington Cares Fund. And this is to put into a fund if and when you need long term care insurance. So, something happens to you, need some assisted living facility, maybe memory care assistance, and you're placed in a facility and need care. This will pay for a lifetime benefit of $36,500 for you out of your contributions. Well, you may recall that at the time there was a carve out made for people. And up until a certain date before the tax was collected in 2023, if you showed that you had private long term care insurance, you could opt out so that you don't have that tax deducted from your paycheck. But you did have to show I've got my own private long term care plan. It's going to be better than what the state's offering. And I don't want your program. And so you had to fill out this attestation, basically say, I've got my own program. I don't need it. I don't need the state's program. Well, at the time, it created this barrage of people that wanted to get a private plan. They said, forget the state plan. That's not going to be a big enough benefit if I ever need to, dip into it anyway. I want a private plan. Well, it completely flooded the long-term care insurance market here in the state such that pretty much everybody shut down and stopped accepting any new applications. So if you already had a plan, you could opt out. You couldn't really get a new private plan. There just wasn't time to do it. And most of us ended up, having to opt in. We didn't really want to opt in, many of us, but you had no choice but to pay into the WA CARES program. Well, now here's the update. Since the beginning of this year, the state of Washington, through Employment Security, has been sending out letters to folks who opted out and said, hey, there's a limited opportunity. Here you go. We've got the deal of the century for you. You can opt back into the program. The state claims they received more than 6,500 inquiries from people wanting to cancel their exemption, their opt out, saying, okay, maybe my private plan that I had got too expensive, or maybe I bought into it only to avoid this state plan, but now I want to cancel that one and opt into the state plan. Claims they've gotten 6,500 people. And so they're opening up a new enrollment period for the folks that self exempted. Now, curious about the friendly reminders. Yeah, and what this really all means. Does the state have maybe some other motivation for doing this? Well, Washington Policy Center's Elizabeth New, who heads up WPC's Center for Healthcare and Worker Rights, is raising some concerns about this. She wants to know what's really going on here with the state. Why are they sending these letters out? Do we really have thousands of people who say, hey, state, I don't like my private plan. I want to get in on the state plan and I want you to start deducting from my salary? So she's asking some questions about this, and she's concerned that potentially it could mean the state is soon going to require currently exempted workers to reattest that they still have private long term care insurance.
I don't think they're confused by them. I think they're skeptical of them. At one point, way back in I think 2021, you could take advantage of the opportunity to buy your own private long-term care insurance plan. And really the way out was meant for people that already had long-term care insurance. But the law was written in such a way that if people obtained it by a certain date in 2021 that I can't remember, they could be exempted from WellCare's program and the payroll tax. So nearly 500,000 people did, about 500,000, I think 476,000 to be exact, somewhere in there. So now the letters that are going out tell people that the state has heard from several thousand people, and they say, hey, because you've improved the eligibility, is there a way to get back into the program? I don't know if that's true or false, but that's what's being sent out. And I'm sure it's true. I don't know. I just don't know anyone who wants back in, but they could, especially people if you know you're going to be needing long-term care in the 4 or 5 year range, you might want back in. It's to have extra money going toward that. In any case, these letters have gone out. They asked people, "Hey, come back. Here's how you do it." We know people want back in. There's a way to do that. Governor Ferguson passed a law last session that said people could.
So new at WPC is kind of viewing these letters that went out with some skepticism, wants to know what's really going on here. And she's also concerned that once the state starts paying out Waterm Cares policies, what's going to be the feedback? Well, you have people that say, hey, this money lasted a year for my grandma because $36,500 doesn't go very far in the state of Washington or probably other states as well. But if you have a loved one, in a long-term care facility or a memory care facility or other specialized, um, care, $36,500 is gone in a blink. It's certainly not going to last very long. So she's wondering what the fallout will be. And she says that people, have the right to be asking these questions now, especially with the state sending these letters out.
I don't know what to make of it. There's the suspicious part of me that says they're giving people a way in before they demand that they reprove or that they prove to begin with that they have private long-term care. The window for this was open, it was an attestation. So who knows if everyone who attested that they had it. I know people have dropped some of them since then. The long-term care industry tells me that many people canceled their plans after they became exempt from law cares. So, the suspicious person in me thinks they're going to make you reprove attestation, and this is a warning shot to say, get back in before it's too late.
So the opt back in window is a wide open window. Started at the beginning of this year and it won't close until the end of June 2028. So another 2+ years out. So there's time for people to consider maybe they do have a private long term care plan and they're thinking it's too expensive or isn't going to meet their needs for whatever reason. You'll have that opportunity to opt into the WA Cares program, which you can already do if you live outside the state of Washington. But work here, you don't have to take part of the program, or service members and their spouses have that opt out privilege as well, and veterans as well. Um, so lots to consider there, but I would encourage you to check out Elizabeth News piece. She ran an op-ed that we covered on the Center Square Washington's page. So I encourage you to check that article out. So that is it for today's episode of Washington in Focus Daily for the 1st of June, 2026. Mondays in the books. And we hope to see you again tomorrow. As always, check out our Center Square Washington page for more articles like this. And we hope to see you back here again on Tuesday.